So I will firstly say a few words about our organization Hekima. I hope you see the slide about it on your screens, just making sure that it works. At Hekima, we focus on solving gender-specific challenges and also social inequalities by placing young people at the center of positive change. And we do it through education, entrepreneurship, and youth empowerment. We cooperate with our Ministry of Education at improving their entrepreneurial education at 180 schools, secondary schools all across Slovakia, through practice enterprise concept that I have introduced also at my first session with you, but since we have completely redid the concept that I will talk about today. And through this cooperation with the Slovak Ministry of Education, we were able to bring agricultural or other innovations to secondary schools already. And I just have the need to say that I really love North Macedonia. We also had a project there cooperating with Southeast European University in Tetovo, focusing on women entrepreneurs. Today, firstly, I will speak about practice enterprises as a traditional concept, and then about practice enterprise 2.0, which is our innovated concept that I believe can be very useful in solving problems with youth and agriculture as well. And then we will specifically look about how this can help solving this problem. As the colleagues before me have already tackled information around the challenges that youth faces, I would like to say that also in Slovakia we have a similar problem with maybe a poor reputation of agriculture or farming among young people. They maybe cannot picture it as an attractive career choice. And they also perceive it as a messy job. And I think that this is one of the biggest challenges that for us to motivate young people to stay in rural areas in agriculture, we need to change their perception of this field of work. I would also like to say that oftentimes when we speak about agriculture with young people in Slovakia, but we also worked in Macedonia, Moldova, Kenya, they usually perceive agriculture as something that is hard work on your land, like this kind of an obsolete perception of what agriculture is. Without the perspective of what it could be in the future. And that today for them, we need to broaden their perspective. And here I just listed a few things that I think are relevant. So agriculture is not just farming and like hard work. On the land, it can be rural tourism, it can be green transition, renewable energy, it can be animal therapy, digital economy, climate intelligent agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and many other fields that maybe do not come to our minds when we say agriculture straight away. So what is practice enterprise? Here, firstly, I would like to introduce the traditional model. So practice enterprise is something that has been functioning in countries. I think now practice enterprises are at schools in all European countries. I think that EU countries, I think that the only one that doesn't have it is Poland. And all the countries use it as a tool to improve their students' employability skills. It's usually you can implement practice enterprises at secondary schools, but it's also very useful at universities and to a certain extent also at primary schools. Practice enterprise is a school subject that is usually taught for like 3 to 6 classes a week. And it's a school-based simulation of running a company. So in the beginning of a school year, students choose a business subject. Usually they choose something that they can imagine. So for example, they would say that they want to sell candles or bracelets or these kinds of things that they like, or even cars. Then they split as a group into departments, those departments that usually every company has. So these are finance, HR, marketing, and production. And in this traditional model that has been used for 50 years, they usually learn how to be good employees. So they, for example, used to focus on if you had, let's say, a production department, so they would focus on how to procure staff for their production. And a marketing department or HR department would look into how students should learn to pay taxes for their employees, or maybe social insurance and these kinds of things. What is great about practice enterprises is that throughout the school year, they simulate everything that a real company needs to do during 1 year of working. And at the moment, because the concept has been around for such a long time, there is a really good ecosystem to support it. So on like a worldwide level, there is this PEN, which is Practice Enterprise Network, which is a platform of over 40 countries and thousands of practice enterprises that helps all the countries who participate with methodology, but also integrating them into system of this virtual ecosystem of practice enterprises, meaning that there is a virtual tax office because companies need to pay taxes. There is a virtual social insurance company, and there is a platform where all these practice enterprises can do business together, buy and sell from each other and to each other. In those 40 countries, practice enterprises can be either coordinated by the Ministry of Education. So for example, in Slovakia, it is the Institute of Vocational Education that is the main implementator at 180 schools, but in other countries, it's also companies, NGOs, universities, or other training institutions. And what's an added value of practice enterprise is also that it provides international exchange. There are competitions, there are awards. This practice enterprise methodology is very much supported also by the European Union. So there are different kinds of grant calls that you can use to, for example, take your practice enterprise, your 10, 15 students to go and participate in a big trade fair, let's say in Belgium, where they can also win prizes and get that international exchange, learn or improve their language skills, and so on. However, as we spoke to employers, now as Hekima, oftentimes what they would tell us is that for them, they do not need as much those young people, for example, to be able to send taxes or do accounting or learn to work in a certain software. But what they were missing were real skills that it is very difficult to learn when we are older. So for example, the companies told us that they can always teach young people or their new employees how to work with their software, how to send away any deductions that they need for their employees, but what they actually need is for young people to have values. And some of those were problem solving, innovation, inclusion and diversity, creativity, and responsibility. And that's the part of our new approach, Practice Enterprise 2.0. So in our cooperation with the Ministry of Education, they allowed us to take 50% of the methodology and all the content that was taught to students and used in practice enterprises, and change the compulsory curricula that are being taught at these 180 schools. And we focused on how we can improve exactly the skills that employers needed, but also the skills that are crucial for having a successful business of your own, which, as you can see, is innovation, constant problem solving, responsibility, creativity, and how to come up with those. And I think that actually agriculture or problems or rural youth are very much tied to entrepreneurship, education, and mainly innovation. So how this new approach works? What we did is that instead of young people coming up with ideas such as selling candles or cars or bracelets or anything in the beginning of a school year, we created an innovation scheme for them.
Ivana, I'm sorry. In order to follow you better, I will propose to go to roll this presentation because we cannot see the presentation.
You cannot?
We cannot see because you are not changing the slides.
In my screen, it says that I'm sharing it, so that's yeah.
I cannot see the slides, and it is a little difficult to follow you, but it's very interesting presentation. It's very interesting topic, so we will appreciate if we have additional slides on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please try? It is from
I'm going to try.
It's from your side that you need to change the slides.
I've been changing. This is the thing. Like on my computer, it says that that's happening. Okay, can you see it now?
No. Maybe if you now, yes. Now
What do you see on the screen?
How it works? Practice Enterprise 2.0. How it works?
Yes.
Now.
Yes. So you didn't see any of these?
No.
That's very unfortunate. Okay, I'm going to continue.
We were hearing you and listening to you carefully, but it is
difficult to follow.
Because it is online presentation, it will be better for the followers to see the presentation as well.
Can you now see the values and skills on your screen? Innovation, creativity,
Yes, now, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you. Let's continue.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that interrupted you.
No, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you did this. So I will come back to what Practice Enterprises do in the beginning of the school year instead of all this, I call it candle business, is that we created innovation mechanism for young people because we saw these very simple business ideas as a waste of potential of young people, because we believe that they can come up with innovative solutions that they can actually improve society and solve social problems, whether on global or local scale. And this traditional practice enterprise methodology was not using this potential or making use of it. So we used SDGs as a main framework for young people to be able to notice and define problems in their surroundings, so locally. Because oftentimes young people can be blind to the problems in their society and just want to migrate or move to cities. So we even created board games for them that they play at the beginning of a school year that use Sustainable Development Goals framework for them to notice the problems in their environments and define them and come up with business solutions to these problems. And we had examples of amazing innovation or very innovative practice enterprises that were also solving agricultural issues, maybe through ideas that would have never like crossed our minds before. And I'm talking about agriculture, but for example, we even have a system where they can solve gender-related problems through business solutions again. So they are improving their innovation. They are getting a framework that teaches them how to solve problems and think innovatively about fields where they want to work, meaning that they do not go straight away to, let's say, I don't know, I want to have mushrooms or grow mushrooms, but they can think about what what can I do with the mushrooms that is innovative that no one else is offering, or that can help some kind of solve some, like, I don't know, poverty problem or hunger problem and so on. Then after they have come up with these business ideas, they split into departments. But those departments do not focus on the things that you can learn when you finish school or university or later on, but more on responsible business practices and SDGs, and how companies can be a positive force in society that helps solve these problems. And many of these things that they do in the departments are relevant to agriculture in some way, whether it's responsible production or circular economy or any other thing. And also they're learning to be responsible entrepreneurs or employees who really care about their environments and land and environment as such. Also, if they work, for example, in an HR department that I mentioned before, they do not only care about taxes and registering employees, but about their mental health, about inclusion and diversity, gender equality, and so on. Okay. Now, during the school year, the students test and refine their ideas. And because they can participate in all these different kinds of competitions and events that are organized by the Ministry of Education, they get real feedback to their business ideas. And we have seen plenty of those businesses that emerge from practice enterprises turning into real businesses that help in their communities. As well, during the year, students built their critical thinking, ethical decision-making, value-based leadership. But what's most important to agriculture, they become junior experts in their respective fields. Because they have a practice enterprise that focuses on a certain sector in agriculture, they need to learn more about it. They start thinking about it. They learn more and can picture themselves as part of that sector of agriculture. Here are just some pictures of we created publication that is used as a school textbook. At the other picture, you can see our game. This game is used to solve gender-specific challenges in society through business solutions, but we also have one that focuses on environmental issues or other social problems. But this kind of a thing can be developed for any sector. So you can have a board game that is actually fun, that teaches young people to think in like business, in a business way, and come up with innovative business solutions in pretty much 2 hours. Then you can see the pictures from trade fair that we have here in Slovakia or in any country that has practice enterprises once a year, where they all meet. And before the students would compete in categories such as best presentation or best stall, the most beautiful stall, and these kinds of things. What we did is that we also introduced responsible categories such as green company, best employer, best business idea, responsible company, and so on. These can also be adjusted to agricultural sector. Just to sum up, this new approach, Practice Enterprise 2.0, goes beyond profit. It's focused more on purpose and responsibility. It links sustainable development goals, circular economy, social entrepreneurship, inclusion, diversity, and climate entrepreneurship to the potential of young people, and seeing young people not as kind of a problem to be solved, but as future leaders, as those who can solve social problems, as those that can drive innovation. And most importantly, this approach changes their maybe perspective on how they see themselves, on whether they perceive themselves as someone who just needs to find a job, it's best in the city or somewhere completely different, or someone who is creative, who is innovative, and who can see where other people see problems, they can see opportunities. Literally meaning like, oh, I'm going to move away to the city because there is nothing in our village. So I believe that this practice enterprise contributes to them seeing nothing in the village as a business opportunity rather than a reason to move from the village to the city. And as a result, students become skilled professionals, responsible global citizens, and change makers. Now I'm going to just sum up what Practice Enterprise brings to rural youth and what the opportunities are for this approach to be applied to this problem. So firstly, it's tackling limited opportunities for rural youth by providing them with better quality training and entrepreneurship support. This risk-free environment when you can actually whatever we try in real life, especially if, for example, the background of those students is not super rich, everything is a risk. In practice enterprises, students can test being entrepreneurs without an actual risk being there. They can test their ideas, they can test whether that's the field that they could work. It also instills values in them. I believe that besides all these business skills that they're getting, they're also becoming better citizens because they learn to notice problems in their communities or in their environments, look for their root causes. This is actually an important part of our approach, is that we teach the students not to solve the symptoms of the problems, but their root causes, so they can tackle the problem effectively. And it builds resilient and rooted youth instead of rural youth seeing entrepreneurship only as migration to cities. If I want to be an entrepreneur, I need to move to Skopje. They can actually see opportunities in their own communities, and they create value locally, which then helps the country's economy as well. Then another one, making entrepreneurship a realistic pathway. I have already mentioned that oftentimes we only picture these very traditional jobs in agriculture as a way of how to make your livelihood through it. And young people may have an idea that it may be too difficult to have a future there. sorry. Yes. But I would like to tell you about two examples that are actually from Macedonia. You should be able to see two pictures in the slide. And these are from our project that we did in Tetovo, where we focused on supporting women in agriculture and climate smart solutions. And usually when we started working with the women and we talked about, let's say, farming or agriculture, the idea also was that it's just, like hard work. And then when we used our innovation schemes, we told them we were not using this practice enterprise methodology, but we were using parts of it for the generation of business ideas, let's say. And where you see the donkeys and goats, I'm not sure if maybe you know it. It's a farm called Countryside in Rankovce. It's led by Maria Duda, and she came back from New York and started her own farm. She had some land, and she decided that she wanted to help animals first. So she started rescuing all different kinds of animals from difficult conditions or from the streets and trained them into therapy animals for mental disadvantages or other health disadvantages. And she literally has like therapeutic horse, dogs, donkey, goat. And she started offering these to people with health disadvantages. Then she started working with horse manure, which is like very expensive to sell. She bought worms and she was able to use the manure that she had in the farm for like very good prices to other farmers, and created also some events at her space with the animals, and started employing women from Roma communities at the nearby village to help her with her greenhouses. And because she had like good manure, she had all these animals, she had like workforce there, started supporting other women, she was able to start her own production of ajvar. And what happened was actually that she created this cycle where it's not just the animals that profit or just the people, but animals are living in a better condition. People with health disadvantages are getting therapy that is maybe not that available in Macedonia or even in Slovakia. She started employing women from Roma communities that were unemployed. And she started doing climate smart, intelligent agriculture, producing her own ajvar. So it's a whole cycle of how she approached farming and innovative business in agriculture. And then the other picture is, and I just forgot the name of that amazing girl who was about 22 years old, and she created her own mushroom incubator. So she conducted a research. What is the most expensive mushroom that she could grow in her field? Like she's also from the village. They have a bigger kind of a farm or like land or a garden. And she started growing mushrooms, being like really a specialist in it. But instead of just selling mushrooms, let's say for soup, she started making other products. And the first time she let me try her mushroom tea, I was a little bit skeptical, but it was actually really good. And she looked at what other products she can create from the mushrooms that are not that common, but are very unique. And through this method, we supported maybe 30. Yeah, we had 30 female entrepreneurs in the program. But what I want to say is that when we want young people to stay in rural areas and focus on agriculture, we need to be able to give them systems on how they can come up with business ideas that actually help them to make a living. Because if everybody focuses on the same thing, let's say like rearing chicken or producing, I don't know, honey. Honey is great. You can do it in many different kinds of ways and so on. But if 30 people in your locality do the same thing in your region, then each of them will earn a bit less. So you need to find a very unique way of how you can use this to your advantage so that your business makes a profit and you're motivated to stay in your rural area. I will just say here, I put many things in the presentation so that once you look at it, any of the participants present, so that you can grab the basic idea and maybe use it for your own, in your own work or projects as an inspiration. So I just listed a few things why this is related to maybe your EU accession or EU requirements as well. I think you can. The EU emphasizes generational renewal, innovation, and sustainability. There are many projects supported and concrete strategies that focus on youth-led rural innovation. And it must be innovation, which also means entrepreneurship, which means we can only have innovation if we educate young people and support innovative skills in them. If we never do it, they will not innovate. First, fits well with EU and regional policies promoting youth, entrepreneurship, and skills development in rural areas. And it also aligns with many European strategies on fulfilling SDGs, integrating circular economy, but also gender inclusion, and so on. Practice enterprises is something that is now, as I said, works in every EU country, maybe besides Poland. I'm not sure how far along they are in the journey of implementing this, but it really helps with, I think it really has an impact on economic development of a country as well. And it's not a very difficult way to implement in my experience. It's not even a very expensive thing to implement or start in education and implement at schools. The questions that maybe we can focus on later on is also how governments and ministries can integrate practice enterprises into broader rural development and youth employment strategies. Some European countries have started rolling it out nationwide. Some started on a small scale for some counties or regions in their countries to measure the impact and see the impact that it actually creates. And we can also talk during our discussion maybe about the partnerships that are necessary to make this effective. And my last few points, but also we need to keep in mind that it's normal for young people to migrate and explore new opportunities. If they want to try living in a city, if they want to go and study abroad and so on, I think it's something that once again can be beneficial for them, but the question is not if they leave, but whether they return. And we need to be able to provide incentives for them to come back. And if we have, let's say, practice enterprises, they already can see themselves, their own potential in their region. They will go to a university and they can be motivated to come back. And the governments should be able to create programs that motivate the young people to stay, to return, provide some incentives such as housing or startup support, access to finance or quality services when they're returning. And then what we have seen, especially in Slovakia, but also in other European countries, is that after our accession to the European Union, many young people have migrated. And also in the 90s, when we had our own country and people were free to start their own businesses, they migrated to cities a lot. And what we see now in the 2020s is that there is a very high interest in properties, farmland, and like pretty much we have a joke that everybody here wants to have a farm and everybody wants to return. So this is also important looking at this youth may leave, but there is a trend of them returning, and what kind of a support or encouragement we provide to these young people, young families, young women especially, if they think about returning and they would maybe need some support. And it doesn't even be doesn't need to be financial support always. Sometimes it's just about information. Like at Hekima, we are now trying to gather information about all different kinds of support, information about, like law requirements and so on, so that women can start their own agro businesses, because one of the biggest barriers to enter this field as a business is that they lack information in one place, and they do not know how to access governmental grants or other tools that are there to support them. And my last point I put here, that's Maria, that's the one that has a farm, that women can be a very important driving force, and we should not be forgetting them, because there's so many, as you have mentioned before, so many gender barriers that are cultural or family kind of based, but the country cannot reach its full economic potential if we are forgetting the potential and the talent of half of our population. So it's very important to support women and women's entrepreneurship, because also when you look at, I looked into European statistics by Eurostat from 2021, I think, and it's usually women who want to start, their own garden farms, and that they feel tied to the land. As mentioned, sorry, I'm supposed.
I will kindly ask you to finalize the presentation, but I will
That's
ask
my last slide.
to be online during the event, because
Yes.
we are lagging behind the time.
Yes, that was my last slide.
Okay, thank you very much. But
Thank
I
you.
will ask you to be present on the next session. We will
Okay.
have 15 minutes break. Yes, because the concentration of the participants is little low.
Mhm.
So after the 15 minutes, we are going back to next panel discussion, and I think that I'm sure that everyone from us has a lot of questions for you.
Yes. Okay,
Please
thank you so much.
be on the panel discussion, the next panel discussion, and on the next the last discussion. Because I'm sure that all of us will have questions for you, especially for these programs and this practice enterprise, which is very new for us.
Perfect. Thank you
Окей,
so much.
на 15 минути пауза и се враќаме на следната презентација панел дискусија.
We are moving to a 15-minute break, and we are returning later.